Hello, friend. Welcome to the energetic forecast for September 9th until September 15th. My name is Desiree De Lunae. I am your acupuncturist, herbalist, and astrologer, and I'm going to equip you with the information, the forecast for this next week so that you can navigate this well. And we are going to talk about detoxing your schedule, detoxing your life, detoxing out all of the commitments and obligations that are not correct for you any longer. So there's a lot of changes that are happening, right into our everyday actions, behaviors, plans, schedules. So this is a very you're going to experience actual changes in the way your day moves, and how your schedule is operating. So that's going to be the large focus. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so that you're notified every time a new video is up, and share with others who would benefit from knowing this information. All right, so let's first talk about Virgo. We've actually had two major moves into a different sign, planets moving into a different sign. One being today, Mercury moved into Virgo, and then on September 5th, Mars actually moved into Cancer. So this is a whole new cycle that we're about to go into. But let's first talk about the fact that our sun's in Virgo and our Mercury just moved into Virgo. It is no longer in retrograde, just to reiterate that. And Mercury loves being in Virgo. It's its actual home sign, but not only is it in its home sign, it's also exalted. This is the best, absolute, most incredible placement for Mercury. And I'm very excited to share with you the benefits that we get to experience from this configuration. Now, just to give you an idea about Virgo cares about progress. Virgo cares about improving, and it cares to create order. It likes to take chaos and work through it and organize it and order it. But in that process of ordering chaos, you know what we do? We get rid of the excess. We're trimming the fat. We're getting rid of what is no longer needed. When we think about Virgo is also is very analytical. It's very practical, very logical, and it cares about efficiency. And when we're talking about efficiency, you got to know that efficiency means we cut out the waste, we cut out the excess. So detoxification, cleansing, you're going to see a lot of that with Virgo energy. So that is what is being called upon us. And there's some other influences that further this agenda here, is making sure that we are improving our schedules. We're improving our where we are investing our focus, our time, and our energy, in improving our habits and cutting out what is not supporting us, what is not helping us to actually progress and improve and make better and to perfect. Because Virgo is it's fastidious. Like it likes to do, it does not like to sit still. It is a very proactive, and it is ensuring that things get done. It's very grounded and stable, and it's reliable. So just remember that as an earth sign, there is so much stability here. So we're really stabilizing our schedules into something better, to stabilizing our lifestyle too, into something better. Just our very everyday, day-to-day activities, routines, structure, things of that nature. Okay. Now, one thing we have to be cautious of this whole week, because we have some Saturn influences too, is not overdoing it. Also, okay, not overdoing it. We can get really hyper fixated and hyper focused on something, but there are some influences that are going to kind of weaken our energy and also create some confusion. So we want to make sure that we are taking those proper times for break and rest as well, that it's not just this constant anxious, nervous, like go, 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 do, and then like we crash at the end of the day. So we want to avoid that. But we have Mercury in Virgo, and Mercury in Virgo, like I said, when we're dealing with planning things, details, Mercury is all about the details, and it's going to be here till September 20. Let me see. I think it's 25th. So it's in here for a while, which is great. So this is a good season to start, like, structuring your schedules. All right. Your routines, maybe like a workout schedule. Also good for planning for travel. So if you have, travels in mind for next year or even the winter time, go ahead and start thinking about that. And you can start booking things as well. This is a good time to book travel. Because if you think about Mercury, Mercury is about communication. It's about transportation as well. It's also commerce. Technology is often associated with Mercury. So if you need to make any purchases that are going to improve your life, like electronics that are going to optimize your systems, it's going to optimize, the way that you operate personally or professionally. This is also another great season to purchase electronics, FYI. Okay. All right. And if you've been kind of feeling like you've been off track, Mercury here in Virgo and Sun here, we're going to get you back on track. We're getting you back in the game, getting back in the groove, getting back on a consistent routine, getting back into your rituals, anything that is going to support you, help you, nurture you, take care of you, eating healthier food, etc. Like we are in that season. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about some of the more challenging aspects that we're dealing with. We do have this Saturn. I've talked about this in previous forecasts. The Saturn is in opposition to the sun. And Saturn, when it's in a red line, right, those are going to be more challenging. We may have some obstacles that come up, some fires that we have to put out, some inconveniences in that way. This can be also very testing of whatever systems that we're putting into place. One of the positives that I see from this is that it'll help us like find our way through the facts. It's going to help us cut out what is superfluous, what is so unnecessary and excess, what is actually just congesting our system. Because that's the thing with Saturn. It takes away, it restricts, it cuts off. So in that way, there's a beneficial way to even refine even more. Like we're getting that refinement with all of this Virgo energy, but then when we throw Saturn into the mix, that just kind of enhances that too. We could find it a little harder to connect and communicate with others with this Saturn here in opposition. And another potential way it can be felt personally is not feeling as like vital and exuberant and physically excited to move forward with all of these amazing plans that you have made in your head. So, and another thing, feeling that weight of responsibilities, because Saturn is responsibilities. So just feeling overwhelmed by all of these details, feeling afraid of all of these details could really settle in as well. Now, if you recall from my last forecast, I talked about a blend that you can use, a combination is put in the diffuser cardamom, like a couple drops of cardamom, and then a few drops of a citrus of your choice. I like lime right now, to tell you the truth, but any citrus you like, tangerine, wild orange, that's going to help with relieving some of that cloudiness that also comes from Neptune. We'll talk about in a second, but that overbearing nature of Saturn just kind of release that pressure too. So keep that blend in mind. That's going to be useful until the middle of this month. Now, let's take a look at the sun in square to Jupiter. So Jupiter's like this 4 kind of sign up here at the top, and Jupiter's in Gemini. And Gemini is our mind, our thinking, our learning, our speaking, our writing, all of that. It's communication. Mercury rules this sign, but we have Jupiter here, which then just expands that. And then Jupiter is just one of the biggest planets in our solar system. And when it is in this square with Sun, it can give you some extra energy, which can essentially overcome some of this Saturn oppressiveness that we just talked about. However, sometimes too much of something is not also good. And so we can overextend ourselves, really pushing ourselves beyond our limits, beyond like what we even have to give. So just be careful of not overextending yourself, because the sun can also represent our physical vitality, and then we throw in a bunch of Jupiter on there, and we already have this like anxious, restless energy from Virgo. It's just so much yang activity that you want to make sure that you are finding those times of rest right now, that not to ignore and avoid those times of rest too. Now, it can also give you a bit more hopefulness, and Jupiter represents faith and possibility, and it doesn't take no for an answer. Like, it really believes it. If it has a goal to achieve, it knows it can achieve it. And there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And that's the conviction that Jupiter holds. So that could be, being sent over to you into your sun, which is also your identity. So I am hoping that whatever struggles that Saturn is offering to us, and we can use the cardamom and the citrus, but that Jupiter can also mitigate some of the possible like negativity and pessimism that Saturn can also lend over to us as well. All right, let's take a look at Mercury's aspects. We do have Mercury right here in Virgo, right? Today's the first day of Virgo. It is in sextile with Mars. And this can also give us some energy and vitality and just a lot of passion in our speech, and just being very taking initiative. So that's really nice. So when I look at this more and more and seeing how all of the other planets are communicating, my hope really is that Saturn, whatever crises, whatever obstacles, you're going to handle. It's not going to be a big deal because you have the faith and trust and hope and optimism of Jupiter, and the passion and the excitement and drive and initiatory energy from Mars to overcome whatever Saturn is providing here. Okay, so as you'll see, you want to kind of look at the bigger picture. You want to incorporate all of the components, and then what is this overall story that's happening for the day. Now, let's take a look at Venus. Now, Venus has been in Libra for a bit, and it's going to be here until the 19th. Or actually, no, the aspect is, but Venus is going to be here for a little bit longer. Venus loves being in Libra. It's in its home sign. How cool is this? We have our Mercury in its home sign, and we have Venus in its home sign, and it is loves pleasure, loves love, loves pleasure, loves luxury, loves fun, loves just enjoying life, enjoying good food, being around beautiful art, being around cool people, and just hanging out and having some fun. So, amidst all of the responsible intensities that are behind in the background, at least we have a little bit of lightness here from Venus. And then Venus, in addition, just to like add to this, we have a nice conversation, a trine over to Jupiter. So this tells me that you're probably going to want to have some really fun, cool conversations and interactions, explore different ideas, because Jupiter's in Gemini, and it likes to learn and understand and gain information and knowledge. So being around people that are intellectually stimulating and provide just delightful conversation, that may be something that you crave on this day. We do have Mercury that's also, I forgot to mention this, it's in square with Uranus. So this means you want some excitement, in your conversation. You want something different. You don't want to talk about the weather. Okay. Actually, I feel like if you follow me, you don't care to talk about the weather unless it's the astrological weather. But, just very like boring subject matters are not going to fly today. Like, you want your curiosity piqued. You want your mind expanded. You want to explore something you haven't ever before. Like, you want your mind blown. You want to be impressed on this day, and learn something genuinely genuinely new and exciting. So there's that. Now, here is another major transition. Okay, we have our Mercury and Virgo. That's a big transition, but we have to take a look at Mars. And I forgot to mention this in the last forecast. My apologies. But Mars is moved over to Cancer, and it's going to be here a while. It's going to be here into November, and so Mars stays in a sign for like almost 60 days. I think it's around 57 days ish. And this moved in here on September 5th, and it's not its best placement. I mean, there's still some positive things we can get from it, but Mars is in its fall. And so, as I've mentioned, every planet has signs where it really likes to be in, where it's its home sign. And there's even signs that it is like on vacation. It's its exaltation. But then there's signs that are in its detriment. And then the fall, which is even more extreme than detriment. And Mars is in its fall sign of Cancer. Look, Mars is a fiery, hot, aggressive, energetic, active warrior type, all right? In the water sign, okay, that is nurturing and reflective and calm. I mean, it's like the polar opposite. It's the polar opposite of what Mars represents. And so basically, if you think about it, this water is kind of dousing the fires of Mars, and it's going to dampen and calm down the passion and the vigor and the vitality and excitement and energy that Mars has. So in this kind of situation, Mars is about aggression too, and irritability and anger, but instead of it being so overt and direct, which Mars likes to be direct, in Cancer, there's a bit more passive aggressiveness. It's indirect anger, which is passive aggressiveness. Cancer is it's ruled by the moon. If you think about the moon waxes and wanes, right? It shifts phases every couple of days. It's in a different sign. It's very moody. Moon is moody, Cancer's moody. And this means Mars is going to be moody too. And our motivations, our drive, and our ambition, which is, delineated by Mars, we get that from Mars. It's going to go up and down and up and down. So our passion, drive, excitement to do something and accomplish something, because look, the sun and Mercury and Virgo wants to get things done, right? But it's going to go up and down. There's going to be days where you're like, yes, let's go for it. Let's do it. I could do so much in just 3 hours. Yes. And then there are going to be days like, I can't get out of bed. I'm not in the mood to do anything. That's the thing, is your moods are going to determine your behaviors here with Mars and Cancer. So the motivation is not going to be as reliable and consistent. But when it's time and you feel it, go for it. So give yourself a little bit of grace while Mars is in Cancer, and it's going to be here till November 3rd. If you're not feeling up to it, if your heart's not in it and you're just not into it and there's just no excitement for it, you're not going to want to do it. Period. You're just not interested. And you're not going to have the energy for it. You won't have the physical energy for it as well. So keep that in mind, that's going on until all the way until November. So we do have at this time Mars in square with Neptune, and this square is going to bring possibly some doubt, some confusion. That's the thing with Neptune, is it brings that cloudy confusion I mentioned earlier. So energies could be even lower. Like we already have it possibly low from Mars in Cancer, but then we have Neptune here to throw into the mix. So just know that that's temporary. It's not going to be here that long. It's only here till Tuesday. So if you're feeling kind of low on energy overall, Monday, Tuesday, normal. And by the way, a lot of the stuff I'm talking about applies on Monday. When I'm talking about Monday, it applies for the rest of the week. It's largely the moon as it moves around that is going to change energies from day to day. So we'll go into that. Okay, so another one that is very important to mention is that we have a Jupiter. Jupiter is up here and it's in square to Saturn. Now, Jupiter is very inspired, right? It's very inspired. It's very visionary. It is very like optimistic and hopeful about the future and very set on making things happen. And then we have our reality check planet, problem and issues planet of Saturn, and they're not in like the best of conversations. They are square to each other. So this is gonna force us to make adjustments in our life. And that's what I talked about, like detoxing your schedule, detoxing, your focus, your energy, like making sure that you are not engaging in things above and beyond what you are meant to, what is right and aligned for you. And so this is what Saturn's going to do. There are going to be some areas, so it's kind of like a tug of war here. Like there's going to be some areas where you need to really go forward and move forward and do more of, and then there are other areas you really need to cut back. And so between Jupiter and Saturn, there's this dance that we're doing between like figuring out what am I going to do more of, add more of, and then what I need to eliminate, take out, cut off. So that's going to be the gift between these two. And not that that's going to be an easy thing, right? Because there may be some things you've got to cut away that you're used to, that you've been doing a long time. And then you may have to move forward on something that is super like unknown and super uncomfortable, unfamiliar. And, but it's important. It still needs to be done. So I talk about here, like this configuration to me, plus, a lot of the other things like the Virgo influence and Saturn in opposition to Sun, is that we're dealing with like getting down to what really matters and what's most important and what is going to yield the most fruit. So essentially, like, what are your actual, real, and assigned responsibilities? Okay, what are your actual, real, and assigned responsibilities? Not all the extra that you think are your responsibilities. And I feel that it's gonna be hard to get away with those. Like, oh, but let me just add this. Let me just do this for you. Let me just take care of this. Like this whole martyr victim role type of situation. Oh, I just got to do everything for everyone. Like that's not gonna fly. This is a season where that's not gonna fly. Okay. So yeah, maybe. And one thing though that could be challenging, again, use that cardamom and citrus, is that having confusion around what to go forward in and what to step back away from. So just to help further that clarity, use that cardamom and the citruses, so that, we're also very grounded in reality and the truth of the matter and the truth of the situations. Okay, so that is Monday. Oh, I did forgot to mention Moon in Scorpio. Moon in Scorpio is also not its most favorite position, but it is very intense here. It's in opposition to Uranus, so there may be some unexpected twists and turns this day, some unexpected surprises that you could not have planned for, even emotionally couldn't plan for, essentially. We also have a square to Mercury, so just having a little tension in expressing how you feel and what you're thinking. And let's see if there's anything else. It is connected to Pluto, which is the modern ruler of Scorpio. This is gonna be an intense feeling day. I think all the stuff that we talked about, all of the changes that you're gonna have to go through when it comes to your day-to-day operations, essentially, you're gonna feel the intensity of that change and transformation and like what that really means to you. And it'll give you the strength and power to deal with it. Oh, let me go back. Sorry. It's going to give you that strength and power. That is one thing I do like about Pluto, is that it strengthens your inner being, and it gives you that power and like that kind of centered groundedness too, and holding space for all of these shifts and changes rather than just kind of like falling apart and crumbling at all of the moving pieces that are happening in your life, especially if there's little crises or events, unexpected disruptions coming about in your day. You do have the strength of Pluto to back you. Okay. All right. So that's Monday. Let's take a look at Tuesday. The big change for Tuesday is that the moon has moved from Scorpio and now it has transitioned into Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is a sparkly, bright sign for the moon. It is going to bring that optimism. So Jupiter rules Sagittarius. And so remember all those things I talked about Jupiter, like being very optimistic and being very hopeful and really believing in what's possible. It's always like the glass is half full instead of half empty. So much faith and positivity and trust. Also adaptability as well. It likes to travel. It likes to wander. It likes to have new experiences. It loves adventure. So there's this flexibility here that we don't get in Scorpio. Scorpio is a fixed sign, but here, like our emotions are a little bit more loose, a little bit more open, and willing to have different experiences. And it has keen sense of judgment too. Like it can take in the environment, here Moon in Sagittarius, and really read situations. So I like Moon in Sagittarius, especially if we need to problem solve and kind of need to be quick on our feet, essentially. We do have Moon that is square to Saturn, so that part can bring some feelings of loneliness and isolation, or make it just a little bit harder to connect with others, and communicate with others, and feeling warm and friendly. The Saturn it's a cold planet, so that's why it constricts and then it creates this withdrawing sensation. But my hope is that this moon in Sagittarius gives you more of that bubbly positivity and has the ability to overcome the coldness of Saturn. Okay. But even if you do have that, just know it's temporary. It's very fleeting, because look, the moon on Wednesday just moves and it doesn't have that aspect anymore. Okay, so actually that's all I had to say for Tuesday. Let's talk about Wednesday. Wednesday, this is a kind of a play day. We can let go of the structure and the intensity today. You can relax just a bit. But we do have Moon in Sagittarius still, and it is squaring the sun. This can disrupt the structure of our day. Like, so essentially with so many aspects here, there's going to be some interruptions of like whatever daily routine you're trying to instill. So we also have the moon in opposition to Jupiter. This usually a pretty like good feeling aspect, brings that positivity and hope. But you will not like it if anybody is trying to limit your freedom and your restriction. Look, Sagittarius needs a lot of freedom. It needs to do what it wants to do. So make sure you do honor that about your moon. It needs to be inspired. So whatever inspires you on this day that feels fun and exciting, like go for it. And moon is also, let's see, we've got square to Neptune. This can bring like a dreamy state, more of an imaginary state. It can make you very sensitive to your environment, and also even some of your psychic abilities might get strengthened here. So this isn't really a day to make major important decisions. It's more about gathering. I would say more like gathering information, and then you can, sort it out a little bit later. We also have the sun that is in trine with Neptune. Or wait, no, it's not Neptune. Let me see. Oh, Uranus. My bad. We have the sun in trine with Uranus. So this is going to bring a lot of excitement as well. There's just a need for major freedom and openness. So keep Wednesday more spacious and open, especially for like unplanned, unexpected events or circumstances. To me, it feels more like there's an experience to be had on this day, and you can't really plan for it. So don't book your schedule like crazy, because this is going to be challenging to any kind of major structure. Or if you do have a structured day and it's all planned out, just expect some possible interruptions and disruptions is another thing to keep in mind. And these interruptions and disruptions may not all be a terrible thing. It may be shaking things up in a really good way and bringing in a new fresh energy that is needed into your life or into your world. So that is our Wednesday. Okay. Now, Thursday, we have a change in our moon. Our moon moves into Capricorn, and this is an earth sign, so it's a bit more grounded. It's a bit more practical. It is not interested in vague things. So as you can see, like, we have a lot of earth energy happening right now on Thursday. We have our our Mercury and our sun in Virgo, and then now we have moon and Pluto in back into Capricorn. Now, remember this whole Capricorn situation. Capricorn has now dipped back Pluto has dipped back into Capricorn, and that happened on September 2nd. And it is going to stay here until the 19th of November. So we have approximately 3 months of Pluto back into Capricorn. And then afterwards, on November 20th, it's going to go back into Aquarius, okay, over here, and it's going to stay in Aquarius for the next 20 years. Now, it's been going back and forth for the last couple years. This is just the nature of how Pluto moves, especially when it's transitioning. It'll go forward and then backward and then forward and then backward and then forward, okay? And this means that we have just a few more months right now left of this old world. Old world, the systems and structures that we have lived by for the last 20 years, since 2008. I think it was 2008 when Pluto went into Capricorn. So that's a whole chunk of history, and how we've been doing life in that period of time from 2008 until November of this year, that is going to be done for good. For good. I think of it like moving. When you move to a new house, move to a new sign, you got to get the stuff from the old house to bring it to the new house. So think of this period that it's been going back and forth is just that. We've just been okay, we need to get our stuff from the old place and put it into the new place. And then on November 20th, that old place we never go back to again for another 248 years. So none of us are going to go back to that type of world any longer. Welcome to the land of Aquarius now. So, but we get a last hurrah. So whatever you love from the old world, go live it up, enjoy it. Some of the old structures, I think of zombie companies that are just falling down over and over. Things that really were thriving in that era is probably not going to thrive as well in this next era of Aquarius. So, but we have a lot of earth energy. That was my long tangent, but we do have a lot of this Capricorn energy, which is earth. It's going to be more logical. It's going to be more practical too. It's more task oriented. So you might just kind of get down into the grind essentially with Moon here in Capricorn. And it'll make you a bit more determined, very focused. And then we have this opposition with Mars happening too. So we'll have some of that energy and that passion from Mars just funneling right into Taurus, depending on the mood, of course. If you are in that mood, because it is in Cancer, if you're feeling that excitement, that's all going to funnel right into your moon. So this will make you working a bit harder and really focus. Just kind of put your head down and get things done, essentially. We also have a nice trine to Mercury, so Moon and Mercury. Like this is a very logical, practical time. I wouldn't think you're gonna have major intensity of emotions. Like it's getting down to business, essentially, is what we're seeing. And we also have Sun in opposition to Neptune. So, we have that opposition to Saturn, but in addition to Saturn, we also have that opposition to Neptune. You'll see these red lines going to the Sun. This can bring a considerable amount of confusion too. So tread lightly, like take your time. We may not really be able to see things as they truly are. Some of the rose colored glasses phenomenon is to be careful of, but you want to avoid that I mentioned earlier, like that whole martyrdom syndrome, poor me kind of situation with both Saturn and Neptune here. This could be a pity party day for oneself. So let's get some movement and circulation. One of the things that I like to do when I have challenging aspect, when I see challenging aspects, I do like to look to the moon and even the sun. And so kind of seeing that they are both in earth signs, right? How can I strengthen and support the moon and the sun? They're both in earth signs. So do things that are very earthy in nature, like actually hiking, Capricorn and hiking, because it's the goat that goes up the side of the mountain. It's the mythical sea goat. So hiking would probably be a phenomenal activity to support yourself. If you're feeling a bit down and out and feeling like a bit sorry for yourself, go do some hiking. That would be my best recommendation. It's something earthy and it's also active, which is what Capricorn likes. Even like going up a hill, climbing up a mountain or a hill or something like that, dealing with rocks. I like the idea of working with rocks and stones, is another great way. Crystals, stones, rocks would be another way to help mitigate some of these challenges here. Okay. And it's just a good time for reflection. This is a day to just kind of reflect, gather the information, no major decisions, please. Now, Friday, this one, we have a bit more fun. We have a bit more, freeness, better flowing energies. I like Friday. It's a more pleasant day. So we have sun that is in trine to the moon, and when that is in that kind of conversation and they're both in earth signs, like there's just going to be a bit more harmony and less resistance and feeling just good with yourself. You're going to feel good about yourself. It's going to be much easier to relate to others and communicate with others. We had a couple of days that were a little bit rough to talk to other people, but this one is going to be a nice day to connect and communicate. Not only that, we also have this trine over to Uranus, which means you're going to need something a little thrilling, okay? A little fun, a little extra, please. Something to just spice up your day that makes it different from other days, make it pretty unique. And the moon is also in trine. There's actually like a grand trine. So you see the sun, you see this blue line to Uranus, and then from Uranus to the moon, and then from moon to the sun. So here, like, and it's the apex, it feels like is over here in Uranus, but the way you're thinking, the way you're feeling, it's all working together really well. There's a lot of harmony between the heart and the mind, and then it's really needing something thrilling, exciting, different, out of the ordinary. So schedule some like random experience that you've never done before. You need to feel free here. This is not a time where you feel restricted. Feeling restricted by things, obligations, responsibilities. Like this is your day, so go enjoy it. All right, bring something positive. And what's cool about doing something different is that it's not disruptive to your life. When you have all these positive aspects, it's only adding to your life. It's not going to create chaos, because that's the thing. Change can create chaos. Sometimes chaos is for the better and sometimes it's not. It really just makes things worse, but you're not going to disrupt your life in some difficult, harmful way by shaking things up on this day. Okay? All right. So this is kind of like a permission to be a little impulsive. How about that? A little permission to be impulsive. Now, let's take a look at Saturday. Saturday, we do have another major change. As you can see, moon moves pretty fast through the signs. We are now in the sign of Aquarius, right at the beginning of Aquarius. This is a nice placement for the moon. It's very harmonious here as well. It's very logical. It's humanitarian. It's very thoughtful, social, charming, all the things, and very intuitive too. There's some extreme intuition. Some of you, this might really enhance some of your intuitive skills and abilities. So very interested in learning as well, like just very passionate about higher learning, about wisdom, about philosophy. So I like the expansion of the mind that comes with moon here in Aquarius, which is nice because, we're here trying to like organize our lives, right? With all of this Virgo energy. And I like the wisdom that the moon has in Aquarius to really see the bigger picture, to see the big vision of where we want to go. That's the thing with Aquarius, it's very visionary. So your intuition is really like heightened in your ability to see into the future for yourself, for your life, for these plans that you have out to set. And then you have all the scrutinizing, like analyzing, discriminating powers of, and I'm saying discriminate in a good sense, like being able to sift and sort through all kinds of information and extract what is of great value. You have that from the Mercury and the Sun here in Virgo, and they're in really good conversation, okay? Because you have Moon that is in trine over here with what's it called? With Sun. Okay, so we also have Moon conjunct Pluto. Look, Pluto, like I said, has dipped back. It's retrograded. It's dipped back into Capricorn. The way that I see this, because it's in Capricorn, right? But they're pretty close to each other. They're conjunct. I feel like this will be a really good reflective day of kind of the past 2 decades of your life and kind of like wrapping it up, essentially. Like what are the lessons that I have learned? What have been my major takeaways? What have been, the victories that I've had? How have I grown from the last 2 decades? So I feel like there's going to be a lot of reflection around that, and just understanding too, like being able to access, your consciousness and being able to understand, the hidden like lessons and meanings of all the things that have happened in your life. Kind of like a good conclusion summary to the last 20 years, because a lot, yes, has happened in the last 20 years. I feel like multiple lifetimes have happened in that season. So there is that. And we have the Sun trine Pluto too. So the Sun is also trine Pluto, which is very nice. And so that's going to bring about incredible like inner strength. That's the thing with Pluto. Pluto is a very powerful planet. It may be a small, demoted to a dwarf planet, but it has like the power of like nuclear energy. Okay. It may be small, but it's very mighty, very impactful. So I feel like this is just only going to activate like that confidence, because we get confidence from the Sun, and it's going to activate that confidence and expand it and grow it and make it just richer and deeper, and just really getting more grounded in yourself. Okay, very good. So I there's some good conversations between the Moon and Pluto, and then the Sun and Pluto. Very nice. All right. Now we're going to go into Sunday, our final day for this week. Moon is still in Aquarius, so that is nice and helpful for us. This one, I do want to mention that, that sun opposite Saturn we've had. Look, if we just go back into Saturday, you'll still see this red line between Saturn and sun. And Saturn is like that H with a line over it. On this day, because that's been around for a bit, that sun opposite Saturn, that's kind of like this cloud I've been talking about, you can stop using your cardamom and citruses on Sunday. We're going to feel this like this pressure off of our chest. You're going to be able to breathe a bit deeper here. So I just wanted to say that aspect is done. It's done, and we're not going to see that aspect for a while. So thank goodness you have gotten through that. And then the fact that, the moon's here in Aquarius is very like pragmatic. It's very logical too. It's very calm. And it can really see objectively everything that's happening. So those are nice placements. We have moon that is in trine with Venus here. So that's going to create this desire to have some really nice connections with our family members and friends, with partners, with loved ones. We just want to become close and intimate and maybe just talk about our last week and also talk about like what we have cut out and what we've been shifting and changing in our day-to-day life, in our everyday. We're talking about the everyday mundane stuff. Okay. Okay. So we also have moon that is in trine with Jupiter. That's a very nice conversation. Sunday is just such a relieving day. That's all I'm going to say. The moon is connected to Jupiter in a beautiful way. So you're going to have increased like generosity and kindness and compassion and care for these people. You're just going to feel the warmth of your relationships. How about that? And feeling very like generous, and giving and just hopeful and feeling just happy overall in general, idealistic. Like this is a good day to be with, wonderful people in your life. So take advantage of Sunday. I would say, unless you really need to withdraw and isolate. I know, I get it. I have those times too. But this setup, it makes for really quality hangout time. Quality hangout time with friends, and you're just going to get so much out of the interaction. You're going to get very nourished out of the interactions of this day. Some days like you're with people and it's like, and other days it's like, oh my gosh, that was like the best lunch I ever had, right? So that's what I'm saying. There's a really good it's a good environment to be with people. So go be with people and have some good times. Okay. All right. So that is our forecast for the week. Please let me know how you've been doing down below. Please comment below. Let me know how you've been handling some of these changes. Are you enjoying Virgo season? Is Virgo feeling supernatural for you, or is it overwhelming for you? How has Saturn been showing up? Because Saturn's been around with this opposition with Sun for a bit. So how has that been showing up for you? And has the blend been helpful, the cardamom and the citrus oils? And of course, if you haven't done yet, please please subscribe and share so that others can hear this message of the energies that they're working with, especially if they are hypersensitive. If you would like more customized work, go ahead and check the link down below for a Cosmic Clarity consultation, as well as Rise and Thrive membership, where I customize blends, workshops, meditations to address what we are going through within the community, as well as what's going on astrologically, combining all of that together so that you are moving through your evolution with grace and with as much ease as possible, so that you are enjoying the changes rather than fighting against them and kicking and screaming against them. And that's the thing. It's the change is a part of life. And what I love about this kind of information is that it shows us the quality of the time. That's another way to look at astrology, is looking at the quality of time. So what is the quality of time right now that we're in, and how can we use it for our benefit? And also, when it's difficult, how can we soften the blow, essentially, and also surrender to it too? And there are things we just need to surrender to rather than fighting, and that's where we experience that freedom. All right. Well, thank you so much. And we'll see you in the next forecast, which is a big deal because we have a lunar eclipse happening in the next week. All right. We'll see you later. Bye.